It's August 20th, 2020, 8 a.m. I'd like to open the meeting of North Koochiching Area Sanitation District. We start out with a roll call. John Bruggeman.
Yes.
Crystal Clan. He's not here. Robert Thompson.
Yes.
Don Billick.
Here.
Roger Jackson.
Here.
Briggs.
Here.
And Terry Murray's here. All right. Do we have anybody in the audience today?
That's Jason.
We have Darcy online. Someone raised their hand.
Somebody just popped up right there.
Oh, Ken Anderson
And Anderson.
and
Jason. I have Jason's last name. Just for the camera. Chop. And Jason's with
SEH.
SEH. Okay. All right. And that's all we have. Okay. We got Stacy, of course. All right. Any additions or deletions to our proposed agenda? If not, I would like to ask for a motion to accept our agenda.
So moved. Done.
So moved by, did you get that? John and Don? Okay, all right, sounds good. All right. Okay, roll call. Don Billick.
Yes.
Robert Thompson.
Yes.
John Bruggeman.
Yes.
Who?
Brian Briggs, that was, I don't know what
Yes.
that was. Okay. Roger Jackson.
Yes.
And I say yes. Okay. Next, let's look at the minutes of the July 21st NKASD board meeting. And when we've
So moved to approve the minutes of July 21st.
Don,
Second.
Brian.
okay, take a roll call. Don Billick.
Yes.
Robert Thompson.
Yes.
John Bruggeman.
What's this for? The East Cooch minutes?
No, North Cooch minutes.
Ours.
Oh, I thought we already did that. Okay, yes.
Where was I? Okay, Ryan Briggs.
Yes.
Roger Jackson.
Yes.
I'll say yes. All right. Next, for our information, we have the East Cooch minutes, but we don't do anything with that other than look at it. All right, let's start off with looking at the August disbursements of $211,496.20. Before we talk about it, can we have a motion to accept them?
So moved.
Second.
John Bruggeman and Don. Okay, do we have any questions on this first?
It's a little high this time, right?
Yeah, it is.
$127,000 high. It's because we had a couple of really large bills. One is, and I'll talk about it a little bit later, but one is our HydroClean bill for the digester, which is $137,000.
Okay.
Is there anything else on there that is out of the ordinary or higher dollar amount, or is that mainly it?
Crandall Septic isn't a normal one, that's an extra special on this one.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody have anything else on disbursements? not, I'll call for a roll call. Brian Briggs,
Yes.
Roger Jackson,
Yes.
John Billick,
Yes.
Robert Thompson,
Yes.
John Bruggeman.
Yes.
I say yes. Okay. Next, financial reports.
Just to let you know that the financial reports, Stacy has some journal entries that need to be done, which will be reflected in our next financial statements that we receive. But the capital improvement fund right now has $326,000 in it, not $731.
I'll move to approve the financial report.
John made a motion. Do I get a second?
Second, Brian.
Brian. All right. Any questions on the financials?
Also, just to let you know that all the bills were paid. The PFA loan money has been taken out of the checkbook, and our balance there is still $129,000.
So again, the net income is down a lot, but that has to do with the hydro clean, I guess. So, any other questions on the finances?
Nope.
If no questions, then I'll call for a vote. Brian Briggs,
Yes.
Roger Jackson,
Yes.
Don Bailey,
Yes.
Robert Thompson,
Yes.
John Bruggeman,
Yes.
and I say yes. Okay. Old business. Let's start out with the ownership of Fifth Street and Pine Lift Station. Okay.
We have received approval from the state to be able to transfer the line in a lift station. And so everybody received a copy of the transfer agreement and of the bill of sale. So the next order of business for that would be to have the board approve or make changes to the transfer agreement and or the bill of sales. And then we would forward it on to the City of International Falls to do the same.
Has the city received the same thing that we have received?
I gave them a copy, yes, but I do not know if they have any changes or not yet.
Okay.
We have to approve it first because I didn't know if anybody, any of the board members wanted to see any changes in wording or anything. If not, you can approve it and then it will be sent to the city.
Is this, Kelly, this is John. Has this been approved by, Oberstar, by David Oberstar? He did this?
Yeah, he wrote it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. He's done all the work for us.
Yeah, okay.
That makes me feel good that he's looked it over.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any other questions or concerns in regards to this agreement? Now I'll ask a motion to accept it.
I would so move to approve the transfer agreement and the bill of sale.
Motion by Don. Do we get a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Robert.
John.
John. Those look a lot alike. All right. With that, I'll call Brian Briggs.
Can we have some discussion on this first?
Yes, let's have some discussion.
I have a question, about the bill of sale. We're just going to give it to them for $1. But Callie, how much in expenses do we have making this happen with Overstar and everyone else?
I've been keeping track of all of Overstar's hours. It's adding up quite quickly. And I'm hoping that when we make the agreement that the city will help in covering those costs.
And that's why I brought this up. I think it's important that we at least have a discussion with them that I think it's only fair, being that they wanted this, that they should at least share in whatever the cost of us having to make this arrangement.
Yeah, I would hope so too. I don't know that you want to put that in the bill of sales or not, but
I don't know if that's the right place either, but I think we need to discuss it, and I'd like to hear what the other board members think about that. But I think it's only fair. They're the one that brought this forward and wanted it. They should at least, I would say, cover half the cost of making that happen.
I think with us approving the transfer agreement and approving the bill of sale, then it goes to the city, and that's the time that we would ask the city to partake in the cost of this venture.
Okay. I mean, that's fine, but I think it has to be discussed along the way here somewhere.
Yeah, but as Callie said, we get it first, we have to do it, everything, and then it goes to the city.
Okay.
So the question I have in regards to that is, when this bill is paid by North Cooch, am I wrong in thinking that the city is paying their part, the fact that they contribute so much to North Cooch in the first place, or am I thinking off in left field?
I guess I don't understand your question.
Okay, so most of our income comes from International Falls, that's district, because of the sewer, is that correct?
Because they're,
Yeah.
and they have the most accounts.
Yeah. So the money that we get is mainly from the city anyway. So if they would pay, and maybe I'm wrong, if they would pay half, for instance, would they also not be, the fact that they're part of North Cooch and that they put so much into it, would that be their share already, or am I not thinking?
No.
No,
I think it's a totally separate issue.
All right.
Myself,
just wanted to throw it out there in case someone says.
because we didn't have to move forward with turning these lines over, but we have, and we have worked together with them. So I think it's only natural and good neighborly to help share in the costs.
I bring it up because it's not in our budget.
Okay, yeah, that's true. You're right. Yeah, it's not our budget.
And I think the city's answer to that would be that they had to put it to their attorney, and their cost would offset our cost.
And that could be.
Well, we'll still throw the question to them. So
Yeah, it'll be a discussion, and bring it back to the board.
Right.
Say, Kelly, I think this all happened because of consolidation, right? The fact that the map should have been redrawn when International Falls consolidated with South International Falls. So that's when this change should have been done.
I guess
I don't know if that makes any difference about who should pay. I mean, we could just ask them, try to get along, and we don't want to have any fights, right?
no.
I'm too old to fight. All right. Any other questions on the ownership agreement?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Ken Anderson. So I've been listening to the conversation, and just for an update from my perspective, I have reviewed the transfer agreement and the bill of sale. I had a conversation directly with Mr. Oberstar back in July before the resolution that was submitted or approved by the city and submitted to you and then ultimately to MPCA. And we indicated that there'll be another resolution necessary to complete the transaction and the transfer. But I guess my recommendation as a city administrator to the city council would be is that the city not contribute additional funds for exactly the reasons that you mentioned, Chairman Murray, is that the city already contributes about 88% of the cost for operations of North Cooch. We agree that the flows coming into this system since the consolidation of South International Falls and International Falls are all now International Falls flows, and we have no objection to assuming that, because that's the way the system is set up, is that the interceptor lines, which have flows from more than one entity, should be in ownership of North Cooch. If there's any flows that are just isolated and only for one of the entities, then the entity should be in charge of it. So we're agreeing to accept that responsibility, but I guess I wouldn't be in favor of the city paying half and then the other half we pay 88% for. That just doesn't seem fair or equitable, and we haven't budgeted for this either. So I guess my recommendation to the council, when your recommendation comes forth, is that we would not pay an additional 50%.
Duly noted. Okay. No, thanks again for giving us your opinion.
Certainly.
I think that, Mr. Chairman, this is John. I think that that's a flawed argument that's been used a lot, is that they pay 88% of the cost. Well, they pay 88% of the cost because they generate 88% of the load on the system. So, I don't think you can use that argument.
Okay.
I think that when we give the bill of sale and the transfer agreement to International Falls, we will submit a letter asking that they pay a portion of the legal fees, and then, it can go to the council and see what happens from there.
Yeah, and it'll come back to us again.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll see what happens. Any other information on the ownership? If not, we have a motion. I don't remember. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll call for a vote. Brian Briggs?
Yes.
Roger Jackson?
Yes.
Don Bailey?
Yes.
Tom Thompson?
Yes.
John Bruggeman?
Yes.
I say yes. All right. Next. Digester cleaning update.
Just wanted to give you an update on the last of the costs. We already discussed $137,000 to hydro clean for cleaning the digesters. And then we also, when we were hauling to the pond, and Greg, help me out if I misspeak, but when we were hauling to the pond, some of the rock and the riprap had to be fixed where the city dumps, but also all the septic haulers dump, and so that was another cost of $1,750. So, and that was included in your packet. So, hauling was the most expensive, and I think that next time we're gonna look. Greg thought maybe get one big semi up here, or one big tanker truck. Why don't you tell him?
Yeah, the next time maybe we'll look at it a little differently and maybe have a tanker here, possibly look into maybe being able to land apply it if it meets our, specs. Obviously we didn't expect this, We pumped everything out of it we could to our secondary digester. We expected them to go in there and get it done pretty quickly, and we didn't expect all that. I mean, we just didn't know. And we could have probably pumped more out of it off the bottom, but then we were worried about pumping grit and sand over to our other digester and just moving the problem to the other digester. That's why we took it down to a certain level till we couldn't pump anymore. And then we figured, well, they get in there and they'll factor it all out. But it ended up being more than what we expected. I don't know what to say. I just didn't expect all that. We didn't want to quit because we wanted to get down into the sump and make sure that we had all the grit and sand that was in there and everything cleaned properly. Definitely was a lot higher than the quote though.
What was the quote again?
148.
No. Yeah, I don't know what else. No. We had it.
What? Is there any alternatives, Greg? I don't know. We're gonna have some money in the bank, in the next few years that we be able to use for main infrastructure. Is there any options? I remember that when there was a proposal of the not COVID but the Corona project. In the beginning, the developers of that Corona project said that we would be able to, they would be able to process that sludge. Now, of course, that's gone by the board. And so, I don't know, we might want to talk to engineers and see whether, come up with a better solution. Because that is really part of our process that's, real problematic, right? I mean, it's given us trouble, along the way all the time. So, if there's something else we can do, would help us a lot.
We'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Jason's with us from SEH. Do you have any comments, Jason?
Yeah, definitely. If this is a ongoing issue and a concern from a cost standpoint for the district, we are more than happy to assist in evaluating what the issue is and potential solutions, both short and long term. So we have my staff that's already been involved up there. Greg, Kathy specializes in solids handling as well. So if that's something the board's interested in, we can get together and talk about it further.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Anything else? That's it on the digester cleaning? Okay, let's go with staff and committee report. Operators report.
All right, Mr. Chairman and board members. What I got here is just to let you know that we, obviously I was going to talk about the digester a little bit, but we covered that now also. But also we did finish cleaning all the clarifiers, train A, train B, in the disbursements. There's a higher bill than normal from Crandall, and that's because we had him here to help us clean out all the clarifiers, primary and secondary, all our recirculation wet wells, and also we had a place in the filter building that we have to clean out. We did have, there's a fair amount of sand and stuff in the bottom of the clarifiers, so we cleaned them all out, and we used him to back them out. So that's what took place there. But all the clarifiers were inspected, and maintenance was done on them that needed to be done. So we are in pretty good shape there now as far as the clarifiers go, and all the scraper mechanisms and stuff in them. Also, later this month, we're going to have a compliance inspection from the MPCA. It won't be on site, but it will be just, they're going to do a phone interview with us, and then they want to walk through on FaceTime and have a tour of the plant. And this year it won't be John Thomas with us this year. It's going to be Mackenzie Hansen. She's new to the department, and Right now, we are waiting to hear back from her. We have to gather a bunch of information for her, DMRs, chlorine information, data and stuff that we have that she wants to look at before we have a phone interview with her. And we were going to be doing that at the end of the month. But we haven't heard back from her yet as far as what she wants to see. So as soon as she gives us that information that she wants, we'll get that to her. So that'll be the end of this month. Hopefully, maybe the first part of September with that inspection report. And we'll see how that goes. And she wanted some pictures of the ponds and stuff like that. But they're not going to come on site like they normally do every 2 years to give us the inspection. Also, like I say, we've been just servicing our lift stations as time permits. Other maintenance has been taking place. We also spend, less than this month, we had about 91 hours up in East Coach. That's with all the call-outs, all the time up there, gopher locates, and whatever it is. And I also been talking with Paul Montaigne about sludge hauling. We do have this storage tank out here that we've got to try to get emptied. And we were hoping for the end of August here. And I did talk with him, and he said he's going to keep in touch with us and the farmers. And we want to try to get that hauled as soon as we can, as much of it as we can, so we don't end up like last year. If it gets too wet and stuff, and then we have an issue trying to get our sludge out. So we'll be in touch with him and see what happens when they are available to come and haul sludge out of the secondary digester. I mean, the storage tank, it'd be our secondary sludge that's stored in our storage tank. Also, it's been about 4 years since we submitted the permit application for our new permit. And a couple weeks ago, we heard from Stephanie Bublitz of the MPCA. She's our permit writer. She said, hopefully by the first of the year, we should have a new permit. But she is going to send us a draft so we can review it. And if we have any questions or concerns, we'll bring that up to her at that time. But it sounds like right after the first of the year, we should be ready for our new permit. That's been about 4 years. We submitted that application almost 4 years ago. Also, this past month, we met all our effluent requirements and submitted our DMR on time. Every month, our DMRs are submitted on time, and we're always meeting our effluent requirements. And that's all I have.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
This is John. As far as the permit goes, could we have permission or act on a motion to allow us to consult with the engineers on the permit? I think it's really, really important that somebody specializes in these permits have review that, because this is our main operating document, and we want to make sure it's right and nothing in there that's going to surprise us.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me, as all the rest of you feel.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd like to make, if it's appropriate, to make that motion at this time. I'd like to, because time is kind of the essence now. But I'd make that motion that we get together with SEH and let them review our new permit.
Okay. Did we get a second?
Second.
Okay, second, Donald. Okay, discussion. Yes, Kelly.
I think it's great that you want to confer with SEH, and I think we should. But also, and I don't know to what extent, but we belong to Messer, and I believe that they do help with permitting as well. Is that not correct? Jason?
If you're,
Sorry, you cut out on me. Yes, I believe they do provide some assistance. We can supplement that. You can reach out to them if you want to contact them first, and if you need some further help, we're more than willing to help you as well.
I'm just thinking if we can use both, because that's why we paid a membership to them, was because of the permitting process.
Right, yeah. Right, you know, it could be like second opinion too, as well, you know, I mean.
okay, so we'll add that on to the motion.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion?
Got one other thing.
Okay, Greg?
I got one other thing for the board. A week or two ago, we had a power outage here, and we don't know if this contributed to it, but 2 days ago, we were gonna start our gravity belt thickener up again to make thickener for the sludge thickener out of the secondary digester to the storage tank. And we couldn't get the gravity belt to run. So we did some troubleshooting, and it looks like our PLC needs to be reprogrammed for the gravity belt thickener. We cannot run it right now, so we got a quote. It just came in this morning, and it would fly somebody up here. I believe it's from Iowa, but the total cost of the quote was about $6,500.
Whoa.
Yeah. And we cannot run that right now. And actually the mixer, the panel that's got the PLC in it, that controls the mixing pump also for the storage tank. So right now we can't run the gravity belt thickener to make sludge out of the secondary digester and put it into the storage tank. Now, we did the troubleshooting, and it looks like it's getting inputs to it, but it's not communicating, sending anything out of the PLC, communicating with everything to make the gravity belt thickener run. So they need to send somebody up here to reprogram that PLC.
And that 6,500 is just for the reprogramming?
That's where actually we had it.
Okay, before we go through all that, let's finish voting. We haven't actually voted on Mr. Bruggeman's motion, so I'll ask for a vote. Brian Briggs.
Yes.
Roger Jackson.
Yes.
Billy.
Yes.
Okay, Robert Thompson.
Yes.
John Bruggeman.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, continue.
Okay.
So is this something?
Well, here's the quote, and it came in at the daily service rates is for 3 days. That's travel to get here, spend the day reprogramming or whatever it takes, and then returning again was $5,400. And then they got airfare on there for $1,250, but that could be less. They said that could be less. That's the airfare to get them here.
Who are these people, Greg?
It's what do you call it? Alpha Label Incorporated. They're the company that bought out.
Alpha Laval?
Yeah, and they're the ones that bought out the company that made the gravity belt.
God.
And they can send a technician up.
Well, we're going to do it, I guess.
I mean, we can't run it like it is.
We got to get it fixed, and if there's no other options, I guess we got to do it, bite the bullet.
We have, well, they may have a backup of this program, or what they do is there somehow that in case we lose it again, we can reload that stuff?
That's a good question. We can talk to them about that.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so are we going to be looking? Looks like we need a motion to pay this bill. Go ahead, paying the bill. Yeah.
Getting them here.
And getting them here and flying. We have a motion.
So move.
So moved by Mr. Briggs. Second by. All right, call for a vote. Don Billy.
Yes.
Robert Thompson.
Yes.
John Bruggeman.
Yes.
Roger Jackson.
Yes.
Brian Briggs.
Yes.
And I'll say yes. Director's report.
Okay, it's time to look at our budget committee again. I'd like to have a meeting, a light meeting in September, just to review a few things. I know the other districts are doing their budgeting as well, and want to know if there's going to be any changes in our fees. And so I would like the budget committee to look at that. I'm not sure who is going to be involved this year. Last year it was Don, Brian, John, and Bob Anderson, and then Walt stepped in for Bob in September. But all districts have to have at least one person represented, so.
Okay, so I'd like to be an active. And Don, are you interested again?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
John?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So that's everybody. We got representatives from everybody there.
yep, there are 4.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll call a meeting in September. I'm just gathering up some data right now, and then I'll let you know.
Sounds good.
The other item I have is a wall map that would take the place of all these different maps on the wall behind me. And we got CAD maps of all 3 of the districts, and SEH. I've been talking with Jason, and Jason, feel free to jump in here, about making one large map for the entire wall that will be in color. It'll show us the manholes and lift stations. And to do that for labor and printing, SEH is proposing to do it on an hourly basis, not to exceed $2,500. And so, Jason, did you have anything to add there?
Yeah, essentially, based upon my understanding of what you're looking for, we did a similar process for the Rainier and the East Koochiching systems. We took their existing record drawings, converted them into a GIS format. So what we would do is we received the CAD files from the city of International Falls. We will convert those into the GIS database that we have the other systems in. Make sure we identify based upon what we were given, locations, line sizes, manholes, lift stations. We can customize it to whatever you guys are looking for. And then we can create one large wall map of all the systems together. And we could also break that down into smaller map sets, whatever really the district's looking for. The price could be half of what I gave you. I just, when doing this before, we can pull some draft maps together, print them out, review them. We can make changes, adjust them. It just depends upon how many iterations or changes or ultimate printouts you want. But we would just do it on an hourly basis, and it would just be a labor charge plus the printing expenses. And then just the final cost would be based upon the product you want in the end.
Kaylee and Jason, would this map include East Coach?
It would include
Yeah.
districts.
Yeah, we would, as long as you have permission from East Cooch to use their documentation, which I would assume you would allow for that. It would have East Koochiching and Rainier. And if it may be, once the Island View portion of East Cooch is incorporated, which it isn't on that existing map on your wall, it may have to be broken into like a west and east system, just because this map is starting to get so large. So, and that's what we'd work with you to try to figure out how you guys want it presented when it's finalized.
How's that sound, everybody?
Is it something that the board wants to move ahead with?
Sounds good to me. Brian, what do you think?
Well, it would be nice to have one large map on that wall so that you could look at everything, you know. And hopefully make it fit together so that basically it just is just like one big area map that covers from Menards all the way out to Shea Shea, and you'd be able to follow it all along. It gives you give you a better understanding how the flows work and how it all gets to the EQ, and from the EQ to the plant and all that.
Mr. Chairman, was there any does anybody have any idea of the cost of this thing? I mean, is it
Maximum
4 figures, 5 figures? Pardon?
500 would be the maximum. It could be half of that. It all depends on how many man hours and printing it'd be. But maximum of 2,500, it sounds like.
A maximum, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's probably well worth that. Yeah.
This map, would it be feasible to have two of them so that one could be placed, say, in Greg's office or over in the plant, because they could reference it much easier there than trying to get into the office area? And
Sounds
Yes.
like a good idea. How
Good
much,
point.
would a copy of that? Any idea what a ballpark figure would be?
You know, once we're done, depending upon the final size of it, you know, this thing could be 5-6 feet long or longer. You're talking about it's usually a few $100s per print. But once we get the actual map, how you guys want it, and I know the size, I'll be able to let you know how much each copy will cost. But until we determine those sizes, it's a little variable. But that's what I'll work through with you guys. The other thing I wanted to mention is when it's all done, we're going to have this in GIS software. And that's a software so that if the district ever decides to move forward with any type of asset management planning for tracking operation and maintenance, you'd be able to tie that information to the map. So it's an interface that you guys could do incorporate in the future if you do desire. That's a little more of an expensive operation. I know the district has talked to some GIS asset management companies in the past. That's a whole nother discussion, but I wanted to let you know all the files will now be in a format that will allow you to do that in the future if you desire.
Yeah, that's what we looked at for many, many years is trying to get a database, especially because we got so many pumps out there and moving, rotating machinery that, but we've, that was the missing part of it the whole time, I think. I think that would allow us to go ahead with that. I mean, it's a big, huge project, but be well worth it for the future.
Any other discussion? If not, I'd like to ask, I suppose we should take a vote on that.
Make a motion.
Make a motion. I'll make sure she wasn't sleeping. Making a motion to purchase this map. Move ahead with it. Roberts made the motion.
second,
Second by Don. Do a roll vote. Don Billy.
yes.
Robert Thompson. Yes. Don Bruggeman.
Yes.
Brian Briggs.
Yes.
Roger Jackson.
Yes.
I'll say yes. Good. Sounds like a good idea. All right. That was the end of the director's report. Is that where we were?
Yep.
Okay. New business, data request form.
In your packet, you received a data request form. When one of the districts requested some information from us, I looked and Stacy looked, and we do not have a public data request form on file. And per the ordinance, Article 5.3 on public access information, you need to have one. So I drafted one up that was in your packets, and if it's okay, I would just want to work approval of it.
Anybody have questions or concerns regarding this form?
I'd make the motion that we adopt this data request form.
Okay,
Second, Ryan.
second from Brian. Any discussion? Any further discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. Brian Briggs,
Yes.
Roger Jackson,
Yes.
Ron Bruggeman,
Yes.
Robert Thompson,
Yes.
Don Billy.
Yes.
I say yes. Okay, good. Candidate. Okay, COVID preparedness plan.
Per Governor Walz's executive order, we had to come up with a preparedness plan for COVID-19, which I was able to get a template for it, but as you can see, all the changes are in red. It was quite a lot of work, and I hopefully you all read it, but I just don't know if the board wants to approve this, or if you want it sent to the HR committee to have them review it, discuss it, and then bring it back to the board. And the HR committee is Robert, Terry, Walt, and Brian. So, wishes of the board.
Everybody had a chance to look at it?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, was there any concerns or questions on this? Or do we feel that we need to look at it closer? Anybody have concerns in doing that?
No.
Yeah, we should? Okay, well, let's bring it to the committee, it wouldn't hurt.
Does Kelly, the city has a safety officer, right? I'm sure they got something like this. They have something like this then, huh? I suppose. I mean, this one looks good to me, but I don't know.
Everybody has to put one together.
Oh, okay.
I know I had to do one before I opened my nail salon back up too when I had it.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
It's required of
It's probably adequate.
Kelly, do you feel confident that this has everything in that we need?
I think so. We have a couple of them now, but I just want to make sure that the board is okay with the wording.
Okay, well, it wouldn't hurt for us to look at it one more time, and everybody those on the committee can take a little more thorough reading of it before we meet. It doesn't have to be a long meeting if it looks good.
Fine.
Okay, so you'll set that meeting up?
Yep.
Good, thank you very much. Okay. Next, we have correspondence, SWIFT fund transfer.
Mr. Chair, before we go into correspondence, I just have to think that East Cooch and being myself has a meeting with the county on Tuesday, and I would like permission to authorize Stacy to attend that meeting along with me.
Yes.
For Stacy to go to a meeting.
Oh, okay, sure, you betcha.
Thank you.
Oh.
That's my northern Minnesota accent. Great. Anybody else interested in going to that? What's it for again?
It's a finance meeting for East Cooch with the county. We're contemplating a rate increase to our customers. And of course, the county's going to have a bunch of questions as to monies. And I feel that Stacy is more profound in that area than myself.
You're a big head. All right, that sounds good. All right. Anything else before we go into correspondence? Not. WIF funds transfer for June is $11,204, and that's mainly just for information, huh, Kelly?
Yes.
Great. Then we have some information from PFA.
Robert and I are gonna go sign the transfer of the wire funds after the meeting.
Of $340,874.13. Okay. Good. Well, if there's nothing else for the good of the,
Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, could I ask Greg one question?
Yeah.
Greg, how about John Thomas is not going to do our review anymore? Is he still with the?
Yeah, he's still with, I talked to him yesterday, he's just, this Mackenzie is new with them, and he's gonna let her do our inspection, but he's still with them for another year or two, he said.
Okay. All right. Mr. Chairman, now, I don't know if the rest of the board has seen this. It's been in the, both the newsprint and the TV, is that the Rainy River, MPCA has been reviewing I think it's 7 major drainage systems in the state of Minnesota, upper and lower Mississippi and Minnesota River, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, the Rainy River water quality has been determined by the NPCA to be of good to excellent quality, which is probably, I think that's their highest rating. I think this has been a couple-year program by them. But anyway, I mean, that is really, really a big deal, I think, for this sewer district, for, for Boise, for, all the people involved in pollution control. I mean, that is really something. I mean, most of us have, I don't think Greg remembered back when that river was really bad. It was so bad, it was unswimmable, unfishable, whatever, poisonous probably. And now here we are, and that's a wonderful thing where we're at now with this. And I think everybody involved deserves a real big round of applause for doing this. And it's good for the area. It's good for tourism, whatever. So anyway, that's just what all I wanted to say.
nice. I know you're old enough to remember all that stuff. Some of us are a little young, but thanks for the recap. All right. Thank you, John. That's good info. All right, if that's it, I would like to, looks like our next meeting is September 15th at 8 o'clock again. Does that sound good? 8?
Sounds good.
All right. I'll have to get up early again, but anything for Robert. Okay. With that, I'd like to close the meeting at 8.
Are we gonna Zoom it? Or are we?
Yeah, we'll Zoom it again. Yeah, like Zoomer. Always want to give that option for a while yet.
Okay.
Closing the meeting at 8:52. All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
All right.